I want to talk about VA loans and student loans and how the student loans affect the VA loan. So a lot of veterans think that, hey, my student loans are deferred. They shouldn't count. I heard they shouldn't count. That is correct. But for this to not, for your student loans not to count against your debt to income ratio, they have to be deferred for at least 12 months beyond your mortgage closing date. That means if you're closing July 4th, 2026, your student loans have to be deferred at least until July 7th, 2027. So it's not as simple as they just being deferred or in forbearance. That forbearance is a whole nother question. If the deferment ends even 1 month short of that 12-month window, we have to count that student loan against your debt to income ratio. If you don't have a income-based payment plan set up, then we're going to go to the 5% or 0.5% of the outstanding balance as counting against your debt to income ratio. So you want to make sure that you get your lender, me, a copy of your actual student loan deferment letter so we can actually match it up with what's on the credit report and confirm those dates, and that it's going to be extended past your actual close and fund date. How we handle the 12-month student loans. Again, we won't count it into your DTI if it's going to be deferred at least 12 months past your close date. If it's deferred 12 months past your close date, $0 on your debt to income ratio. If it's not, then we would have to actually count 0.5% of the outstanding balance against your debt to income ratio, which would reduce the amount that you could afford or cause you to have to pay off debts. So that's something you want to get taken care of up front, and then know your actual deferment dates. Because if you're planning to close after after that 12-month period, then you may want to get your student loans updated, try to get into an income-based repayment plan if they won't extend the deferment any longer, so that we know exactly what numbers you're working with while you're shopping for your home. If you're an income driven repayment plan, IDR or IBR, and you have a verified zero payment, VA allows us just to count zero, but it can't just be deferred. You have to be in an actual income based repayment plan for us to count zero. If there's no documentation, then we're going to go back to that 5% fallback rule. We'll calculate 5% of the total balance and divide that by 12, basically 0.05% of the outstanding balance, and use that in your debt to income ratio to calculate what you can afford. So again, that will require you to pay off some debt to afford less home than you were previously looking at. And watch out for the hardship catch. If your student loans are in deferred or in a forbearance specifically due to financial hardship or unemployment, the lender cannot simply ignore them, because you've basically told the student loan servicer and us that you couldn't afford to pay the student loan. So if it's kind of a catch-22, you said you put in a financial hardship that you couldn't afford to pay your student loan. So how are you going to be able to afford a home if you can't afford to pay your student loan? So that's something you want to think about before you take that route. You want to get into an established repayment or deferment plan. So for instance, if you had $40,000 in student loans and you can't provide a 12-month deferment or active IDR plan, the lender must assume a monthly payment of $166.67 against your debt to income ratio, even if your actual statement says you owe nothing right now. That's where the importance of getting into an actual income based repayment plan or actually having a legitimate student loan deferment is important. So again, the most important thing is we're going to look at your credit report. We're going to see those student loans deferred. There may be dates on there. We will still require the information, actual letter from the student loan servicer showing how long those student loans are and when repayment will begin. Then it's up to you to actually find a home after you're pre-approved and close and fund before the 12-month date on the student loan deferment. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at 404-461-3172 or reggieloans.com. Talk to you soon.